giving my thoughts on Jon Jones at heavyweight, whether or not we should believe he could run the gauntlet at heavyweight. It's one thing to win the title. It's one thing to win a vacant title, right? It's not like he beat Francis for the title. Let's be real here. Let's be real. He didn't beat Francis. He didn't even beat Stipe. He beat Ciryl Gane, which is cool. It's a great win. It looked great, especially the way he did it. He did, admittedly so, he said it himself, that he looked goofy in the striking against Ciryl Gane. Why is that? He doesn't really look goofy in the striking at light heavyweight. At light heavyweight, he's, outstriking people, outstriking strikers, drops Lyoto Machida with a shot, you know what I mean? Jon Jones can strike, but he looked goofy against Ciryl Gane. Why is that? He blamed the inactivity, he blamed the time off, things like that, and that very well may be true. And, my question is, what's changed? He's still going to be inactive. He's coming off of an injury. This injury, Jon said, is going to take 8 months. I think Jon is going to adhere to that as he should. He should not try to risk it. If that's what he wanted, if he wanted 8 months to get back to it, take the 8 months to get back to it, Jon. You know what I mean? Come back healthy. But I think Jon Jones's approach, maybe he put too much of a demand on his body at heavyweight. Because you got to think, that was Jon Jones's first fight camp at heavyweight was Ciryl Gane. He's only got one under his belt. That's a lot of demand on his body. Going with heavyweights, going with real heavyweights, and grappling with them, all stuff like that. I'm sure it's different from going with light heavyweights. You get what I'm saying? It's different from when you're a 205er going with other 205ers, and now you're in the division where you may run into a guy who's 265. You know what I mean? You may run into a guy that you have to train with who has to cut weight to make 265. You get what I mean? Like, it's different. The bodies are different. The strength is different. The technique is different to a degree. And the strategy is different. It could be more of a muscle game at heavyweight. The training wears on your body a lot more than the fights. A lot of fighters come out and they say that the fights is the easy part. That's one night. But when we're training for it, that's when the injuries happen. When they're training for it is day in, day out, constant grind. And you're beating on yourself in camp. Your body hurts. Everything hurts. And, things go left and you pop your pec and now you're out for 8 months. So for me, I think also, by the way, just to say, Daniel Cormier came out and he said the same exact thing. Go watch my video on it. It came out first. Daniel Cormier, hours later, said the same exact thing, that the bodies, he said it on his DC and RC show. So there's that, right? Great minds think alike. Tip of the hat to Daniel Cormier. In terms of whether or not we should believe in Jon Jones, I'm still thinking no. He's got to prove himself. He didn't fight Francis. He can't fight Francis, and rightfully so. I'm kind of with Dana to a certain degree here, because it's like, bro, we could have had this fight, blah, blah, blah. You're trying to completely corrupt and erode the business I've created here, Francis. You know what I mean? I'm not going to give in to that. Francis Ngannou is out. So we have to work with what we got. He didn't even fight Stipe. Okay? He didn't even fight Stipe. He fought Ciryl Gane. And he didn't even fight Tom Aspinall. I think Tom Aspinall would have been a better fight. And probably, a worse fight for Jon. Jon looking goofy in the stand-up, not being comfortable against the Tom Aspinall, will not go well for him. If you blamed it on the inactivity before, what makes you think the inactivity isn't going to show itself again? Inactivity has shown itself for Jon Jones in the past. Inactivity led to the OSP debacle. If you go back and you watch the OSP fight, Jon wins every round. That's cool, but he did not look like Jon Jones. Watch Jon Jones's career, how it played out, fight by fight. Do your research. Watch how Jon Jones was just destroying people. And then he took time off. He started lifting. And came back bulkier. And he won. But it was like, bro, we were expecting Jon Jones to destroy OSP. You get what I'm saying? We were expecting Jon Jones to do like Like, how the hell OSP makes it all the way through, but Shogun got finished? You know what I mean? How you finish Shogun? How you finish Rampage Jackson? How you finish Lyoto, but you can't finish OSP, bro? You know what I mean? It's like that. Like, Jon Jones is great to where even his wins by decision are kind of looked at with an eyebrow, but that's just Jon Jones, and that's the measuring stick he's up against is himself. But at heavyweight, if he fights a Tom Aspinall, he better be used to heavyweight bodies, bro. He has to be. He has to be used to a heavyweight body when he's fighting a Stipe Miocic. Stipe, that's all he knows, is just training at heavyweight for heavyweight fights. It's a bigger workload, bro. You're training with bigger people. That's not his first fight camp like it was Jon Jones. Jon Jones, his next fight is going to be his second fight camp for a heavyweight. You know what I mean? His second time doing that. It's just, it doesn't make sense to me how we could expect to favor Jon Jones when he's going up against the odds that he's going up against. And again, if Jon Jones wins, if Jon Jones proves me wrong and says, you know, goes out there and takes Stipe down, or goes out there and spinning back elbows Stipe, and Stipe drops and goes for a guillotine and chokes him out like he did Lyoto or something, props to him. More praise. Second run at heavyweights, rejuvenating his career. It's rewriting his book. All things like this. It's giving him the fairy tale ending, so to speak. But how am I going to bet on that? How am I going to look at that and say that's the most likely outcome? So that's my question for you. What's the most likely outcome for Jon Jones? Do you believe in Jon Jones at heavyweight? Light heavyweight, yeah. Light heavyweight, he's even getting bored down there, you know. That's why he's here at heavyweight, you know. He's getting bored down there at light heavyweight. But heavyweight's different. Heavyweight is different. Look at Islam Makhachev versus Alexander Volkanovski. Weight classes exist for a reason, and the biggest gap is 205 to heavyweight. It's the biggest gap. You go from 205 to very possibly a guy who's 60 pounds heavier than you. Mind you, the guy who's 60 pounds heavier than you had to cut weight to get to this moment. You know what I mean? He had to cut weight to make 265. You get me? It's not like I'm over here eating my Wheaties and putting it in to get to 65, or even to get to 240 like Jon Jones. You know what I mean? Like, Jon Jones had to put in work to do that. These guys got to put in work to make the limit. Like, their size matters, bro. Jon Jones is a 205er fighting at heavyweight. He's got the crown right now. But I think if he fights Tom Aspinall, he loses that fight. I think if he fights Stipe, he loses that fight. I think I could see him beating Stipe more, but I would favor Stipe. Tom, I think he just goes through him. I think Tom dethrones Jon Jones, and everyone's like, holy shit. Like, wow. We just saw Jon get marched down, and he ate some punches, and, you know, that's it. We just saw Jon get finished. I think that's what happens if Tom Aspinall fights him. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you agree, disagree, it does not matter. Join the discussion, and please follow for more. Thank you. You are appreciated.